let's get stuck in. So first of all, the sprint goal was not met for this sprint. So this was to move our CRM's integration from development to staging for EU. There was two reasons for this. The priorities of the sprint shifted, and also capacity of key staff for this PBI were reduced.
Okay. Who was mainly working on that?
Talk about that later. So that one was mainly JK, and he had greatly reduced capacity this sprint, which was mostly factored in. But also the changing of priorities and also the assistance JK gave to other staff meant that it, just wasn't quite achievable. But we'll go into more detail into more detail in the forecast as well about this. This is Sprint Review 306. The product owner for this was Yuli. And I'll keep going. Stop me if you have any questions. So here's the team members that worked on this sprint. And here are the main items that we worked on this sprint. So the notable items, first of all, was the removing of the redundant error message. So a bug was introduced into our application a week ago or so. This one's been fixed today and released into production, which should reduce a great deal of the false negative error messages we were seeing in the back end, and we'll only be able to see the important error messages going forward, so that's good.
Sam, could you show us the error messages that you were seeing?
Yeah, I'll actually show that in a later... it's gone now, but I could show it in production.
Is it in a screenshot? Oh, if it's in production, show us there, but is it in a screenshot in the PBI?
It may... No, I don't think the PBI has a breakdown of that. It has a code snippet that I generated to fix it.
Okay. Toby, do you think you could add a screenshot into the PBI so it's there for posterity?
Sorry, a screenshot. Yep.
Of the error message that's currently in production. Yep.
So that was a 2-for-1. There was an ugly bit of UI that thanks for that, Toby, and also that in the back end we won't see so many false negatives there, so that's good. Great bit of work was done by our new team member Jerry, and that was the collapsing of invoice sections when no unallocated timesheets were set. So here's a normal timesheet. Let's say we've reloaded this fresh. This element here is now just automatically not dropped down because there are no items there to show. It's a very small change, but it's great for reducing the clutter on this page. One thing notable for this as well is that Jerry was able to work with our designer Betty to introduce some extra little UI improvements along with this. So we kind of got a little bit of extra bang for our buck. So that was quite nice. And then lastly, Ingram Micro invoices, we are very close to releasing the second iteration of that. There's been conversations with other stakeholders, such as Mike and Warwick so far, and they're quite happy with it. And we've also identified some next big items to work on in coming sprints. So we're moving down to suggested timesheet usage. So this has been a stat that we've been tracking for the last few weeks to track. So there's somebody's microphone is providing a bit of background noise. So here, this is tracking the uptake of one of our critical features, which is the use of suggested timesheets. This has relatively stayed quite stable for the past few weeks. And we've kind of highlighted two reasons for how, two notes of how we could improve this going forward. So one is the GitHub integration that we have planned already. We think we'll get a few more people in that. There's also a PBI here that's currently in the works with Joffrey to fix the analytics here so it better reflects actual usage. If anyone's interested in how those analytics are going to be updated, just feel free to hit up the team and we can talk about that later. I'll continue down through extra analytics for this sprint, including code coverage. We found that most of this was quite stable and looked pretty similar to previous sprints, so nothing of note there. We just had one release to production, that was today. Here you can see the failed request is still 2,000, which is way above what we want to see. There's two reasons for this. One is the bots that are that are periodically hitting us, and we see that big spike there. But the overall number of 2,000 we expect to come way back down to normal limits, normal, numbers now that the redundant error messages that were mentioned earlier have been implemented. So here's the state of the epics, which are progressing along. And finally, we get to the retrospective for the sprint. So first of all, Jerry, F5 experience is much smoother than before. This is partially because Jerry fixed a critical bug that I introduced when I did the improvements to my F5 experience. But now that's great. It's been user tested and it's all working well. Jerry as well, the work he did with Betty was great. And that's great. It's always good to get designers to look into this work. Sam, just Jerry, who joined this team, and he's already kicked, a few goals, completed a few PBIs, which is really nice. Joffrey, shout out to JK and John for explaining business logic for receding. So it's a really complex part of the domain, and it's great to be able to talk to the experts here for completing our PBIs. So Joffrey didn't make progress on the sprint goal despite the team making good progress overall. So this is mentioned, we didn't make any progress on the sprint goal, and due to reduced capacity, but also because the sprint goal shifted, which is not ideal, although we'd like to think we did make overall good progress for TimePro. I will move on now to the forecast. So here's the forecast. Not only was that sprint goal not achieved, we've also decided that it shouldn't be the sprint goal for our next sprint. The 2 sprint goals we have instead is, first of all, Ingram Micro creating invoices iteration 2. We think this is going to be a great and important goal to hit. And that will also spawn a few extra PBIs, we imagine, as we refine and enhance Ingram Micro invoice generation. Also, the sprint goal that's come in here, feature toggles, that's effectively to replace the previous sprint goal. So that sprint goal was really to help our other team who are working on Easy Leave to help with their integrations and their development environment. However, their priorities have shifted, and improving the feature toggle management is actually higher on their list now. So again, since JK will likely be working on this and his capacity is reduced once again, we thought this might be a better PBI to tackle. And we think that both of these together will create a great sprint. So this is sprint 307. And once again, everything's as normal. Yuli will be the product owner again for this sprint. And here are the items. So at the top there, we have creating invoices. I might bold that because it's a sprint goal, and also this one. Great.
Do you plan on doing a done video for this sprint?
I think so, especially for the creation of invoices. And then we'll see about the improved feature toggle management. I'm not entirely across that, but definitely for the Ingram Micro invoices.
Okay, that would be great if we can get that done.
Sure thing. All right.
Hold on.
Thank you. Yep.
Did you consider trying to squeeze in any of the changes that Betty has given you on the website stuff?
Yeah, totally. So it's just one so far, but we've also spoken with Betty, and we've highlighted a few more cards, PBIs that we reckon will come into the next sprint.
Who will do that one?
Yeah.
Who will do that UI UX one?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think we have any.
I can work on it.
Yeah, okay, perfect. All right, that'd be great, Jeffrey.
I'll bold that one as it's of interest.
That's good. And also, is there any work being done on working out the GitHub integration, or is that just not on this?
It's not on the radar for this sprint. Yeah. Okay. Given the priorities of Ingram Micro, especially, and also the kind of unfortunately, like the requirements of the team working on Easy Leave, that we also assist them a bit this sprint. But yeah.
Okay. Will anyone be speaking to any of the people not using suggested timesheets or auto timesheets?
Yeah, totally.
Who will? Because it's not on the list here.
That's true. We did introduce it as a sprint item in a previous sprint. We could do that again just to
Yeah,
make
you
sure
should
it's
do
done.
it in every sprint and give it to someone so they spend some time on it. So you can fix it up after this, but yeah,
Yeah, we'll
I'd
do.
definitely do it. Okay.
Cool. We'll chuck that through. That's a good idea. Also, just to mention out of interest that this last bug here we actually hit on the previous review with Yuli, and we yak shave it to get this one into the sprint. So that's a nice little bit of dog fooding there. Cool.
Beautiful.
All right. Thanks for everyone for tuning in, and you can see the sprint review here uploaded on our SSW TimePro channel. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.